Well, welcome to our Park City Market Talk webinar. I'm Ron Wilstein, one of the brokers at Keller Williams Luxury Properties Real Estate here in Park City.
And I'm Jeremy Wilstein, the buyer consultant for the Wilstein team, and we're here to share with you what's going on in the world of Park City real estate. This is our May 2014 Park City Market Talk webinar. Thanks for joining us.
Well, the seasons are changing. It's time to put away the snowshoes and the skis and the boards and pull out the golf clubs.
Right.
And the mountain bikes and water sports. So fun changing time in the Park City area, and I'm excited about it.
Yep, and the snow is quickly melting away, so a lot of the trails are good over Glen Wild and Round Valley, and soon the resort trails might be open.
That's right. We'll mention that here in a moment, and then of course we'll give you an update on what's happening in the Park City real estate market, where values are and where the number of sales are popping up.
All right, and then we're going to talk about summertime home improvements and enhancements you can do to your property.
And then finally we'll wrap it up talking about what's been selling and what's not selling.
Taking a look at the opening dates at the resorts, Park City Mountain Resort for their summer activities. They open a couple chairlifts on Friday, May 23rd, and then get completely open into June. Canyons is scheduled to open Thursday, June 12th, just edging out Deer Valley, which is scheduled to open Friday, June 13th for the summer activities.
That's right. So time to tune up the bikes and get them ready for the hills.
All right.
There's other activities that we have that each year. Of course, the Park City Market, which is a lot of fun. The Park City Arts Festival, and lots of concerts, both at Deer Valley and at the Canyons Resort. So put that on your schedule and enjoy the evenings in Park City.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Park City real estate market and what's been happening. So there were 1,377 sales in Park City over the past 12 months. So that's homes, condos, and vacant land combined. That's up 8% or 98 sales over the year before.
Now let's break it down and see what it looks like by category. Here we're looking at a graph where we're going back to May of 2013 all the way through to April 2014. That's the red bars, and then the blue bars is that same time period the year before. Homes have risen by 3%, the number of sales, from 531 transactions to 548. Condos are up 10% from 563 sales all the way to 618. And lots, where we're seeing the greatest amount of improvement, is up from 185 transactions to 211 closed sales.
All right, and then taking a closer look at home sales inside the Park City limits, in terms of number of sales, we're actually down 4% from 185 to 178 sales, probably due to our lack of inventory right now. But in Snyderville Basin, we were up 7%, 346 sales to 370 sales this past year.
When we shift to condominiums, condo sales are up by 3% within the city limits, from 349 transactions to 360 closed sales this past 12-month period. And the Snyderville Basin's been hot, with 21% increase from 214 transactions to 258 this past year.
And then taking a look at lot sales, we're actually down 24% inside the city limits, from 51 to 39. Not a lot of lots available inside the city, so a lot have sold and there's just not many available.
Yep.
In Snyderville Basin, on the other side of the coin, there's a decent amount of land available, which is why we saw a 28% increase in the number of lot sales, up from 134 to 172 sales this past year.
And clearly what we're seeing is, as the inventory of homes and condominiums diminishes, people are turning to vacant land to build their dream homes, and that's fueling the increase of activity. And of course, as we're moving into the summer months, it's easier to get onto the land and see what the views are and walk the property. So we expect this will continue for the next several months for sure. Time on the market, the average time on the market is 12 days faster than a year before, and again, it's just an indicator of our healthy market. People want to buy properties when the right one comes on the market, and sellers will make deals in order to move along. Everybody wants to know what's happening on prices. Jeremy, let's take a look first at the homes on this.
All right, so this is the year-to-year comparison of home median sold prices. Again, in the red is from May 2013 through April 2014, and the blue is the same time period the year previously. Inside Park City, wow, we're up 19% in terms of price. We're up to $1.3 million is the average price inside the city limits. Snyderville Basin also seeing nice increases of 13%, with the median sold home price being $720,000 inside in the Snyderville Basin area.
Really nice appreciation there among our home sales. When we turn to condominiums, within the city limits, it's actually down a bit, 5% precisely, from 502,750 the year before to 476,500. But in the condominium area in the Snyderville Basin, it's up 16%. So the median sold price has climbed from 290,000 all the way to 335,000.
Mm-hmm. And then taking a look at land, we're up 32% in terms of sold prices for land inside the city limits. So while our land sales are down, the number of sales are down, our prices are extremely up. If that's a word.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so it just shows that the limited inventory is actually pushing prices up, and there's just only so many lots inside the city limits. Snyderville Basin is also doing well, up 9%, with the average or the median sold price being $307,500 in the Snyderville Basin.
Now let's move to our other topic. It's very timely this time of year to talk about home improvements and enhancements. These are things that you can do for your own enjoyment, as well as if you're potentially considering selling your property, they're a good idea. Home improvements enhance the enjoyment of any property and later typically result in properties selling faster and for more money. And so while we get outside, we start planting flowers, start working on our homes, it's a good time to think about that. So what our goal is today is to share with you a number of categories that are very productive at giving you enjoyment as well as increasing the value of your property. We were talking about painting, one of the most basic things you can do, and you know if your property is ready for a paint job, either inside or out. Landscaping, decks and patios, sun protection, barbecues, privacy screens, and view enhancements. We've got so many great views in Park City, it's really important. So let's take a look at each one of these.
So for painting, you can paint the interior home, the exterior home, do different accent walls in the home, so just add a bit of color, some uniqueness to the inside of the home. And then fences get battered. It's a rough climate here in Park City, so restaining, repainting your fences help. And if you're selling your home, nothing looks better than freshly painted exterior of a home to a buyer, because they might want to change the interior colors of the home, but usually the exterior looks really nice with a fresh paint coat.
And if your interior does have a lot of scuff marks, a fresh coat of paint really freshens it up, gives the impression to a buyer that your home is well kept up, and so it accomplishes a number of different things. Yeah. Landscaping is also important, and people have a lot of preferences when it comes to what your yard looks like inside and out, or front and back I should say. Some people like manicured landscaping, that's fine. We're up in a mountain environment, so natural landscaping is also quite popular, but simply by adding some more trees or flower beds, it can really make a significant difference in pulling the outside of the home into the same condition that often the interior is. Water features are becoming more popular. Sometimes people use them just because they like to hear that water. Sometimes it's used to actually block out possibly highway noise if they're near a highway. But just having a waterfall is really nice. I've got one of those in my backyard, and I really enjoy it.
All right, and then moving on to decks and patios, so you can go anywhere from a simple deck to multi-levels to built-in flower pots. I mean, you can really go crazy with the decks or patios, or keep it very simple. It's nice to have some sun protection. And it's so enjoyable here in the summertime, and the weather's so nice, and we have very little bugs, so outdoor space is important and well used here in this climate.
It's really pushing the interior outside so people enjoy it, and we really do take that into account here living in Park City. And as the days get longer because of the sun setting a little bit later, it's People live outside a lot. Now, this leads to sun protection that as we're up in the mountains, sometimes we need to get out from underneath that straight sun protection. So people have turned toward awnings. Usually they're motorized these days. Slide out when you need them, close them up, so you can take advantage of your view when you don't want them out. Pergolas are also used, movable shades frequently. You'll enjoy the outside more if you get some protection there. Sometimes it can just be too hot. So this is a nice enhancement that people enjoy.
And then taking a look at barbecues, you have built-in barbecues, outdoor entertaining areas. The list goes on where you want to go, but everybody likes to get out and barbecue and have that nice outdoor space and entertain out in the yard or the backyard or the front yard, wherever.
It's one way to give the appearance of extra square footage just because you can live outside so nice and comfortably. So the pictures behind us here, pretty nice jobs with some outdoor kitchens. Don't have to go that far, but when you do, it really makes a difference, and you do get that out of your sale, or will speed up the time to sell as people look at that. Privacy screens are good. We use a lot of hot tubs here, and so it's nice to have that privacy. Sometimes we may be trying to block our neighbor, depending upon what our arrangement is, or just put it around the hot tub. Trees are often used again for that, water features, but the shades are really nice to use.
And then view enhancements. We have what I like to call seasonal views here in Park City. So you might have a beautiful view in the wintertime when all the aspen leaves have fallen off. But when the aspen leaves fill in, sometimes your views get obstructed, and it just depends if you want the trees there or you want the view. So sometimes pruning your trees, opening up the view corridor a little bit. If you've been in a home for a long time, you might not notice it, but if you're looking to sell, it might be good to prune your trees a little bit so it opens up the beautiful view here in the summertime.
I love trees, but when I have a beautiful view in front of me, I know I've heard of $1 million views. I've never heard of $1 million trees. So sometimes you just prune them and you can really take advantage of that view. Anyway, those are our tips when it comes to things you can do to enjoy the outdoors more at your home and to enhance it while the weather is good. We want to now just wrap up and talk about our market and what's selling and what isn't selling.
So let's talk about what's selling. Single-family homes, primary residence condos in the Snyderville Basin are selling. These are the best deals. There's high demand. There's a limited number of these. So if one comes on the market, you really got to pay attention to it and not wait.
Yeah, sometimes you got to move really quickly. What's not selling is, of course, overpriced properties. Even if it is a single-family home or primary residence condo, which are very popular now, if they're overpriced, they're just not moving. Today's buyer is very shrewd on what values are, and so you got to price right. Also, Deer Valley condos have been slow. We expected them to pick up during the ski season. There were a few sales, but frankly not a lot. We do expect this to change, but it just hasn't changed yet. So that's our slower market right now.
So as I just alluded to, buying strategies, if the right property comes on the market, there is an extremely limited amount of choices right now. So if it is a good choice and you think it can work, you've got to talk amongst yourselves quickly and make a buying decision, because it might be gone. And when you are negotiating a deal, and if it's good property, you might expect to be in a multiple offer. So it's better to get the deal done quicker, get it under contract, and not try to scrape for every dime, because you'll probably end up losing the property.
Good advice. Also, it's very helpful to be pre-approved for a loan if that's required for your purchase. That way, when you present your offer, it's stronger. There can be a pre-approval or a verification of cash accompanying an offer. That's very, very important. And be ready to act quickly, not because we're trying to overly sell anything, but because certain property categories, if you don't, someone else will.
Yeah. So with selling strategies, sellers, you still need to look at the comparable sales and recent transactions to determine the current value. Just because there's a high activity of buyers doesn't mean that they're going to overpay for your property. You might be able to push it slightly, but buyer's not going to pay more, and then you might have some issues if they're getting a loan down the road.
Sometimes sellers need to abandon a price set in their mind when reality doesn't support it. And that's simply, again, taking a look at current sales, what has happened, and where values are. Sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow because sellers often have objectives when they sell the property, what they intend to do. They want to have a certain amount of equity or money to do that with, and so they hold out for a higher price. If it's too high, they maybe don't sell their property. And unfortunately, buyers don't care what sellers are going to do after they sell the property. So just take a fresh look at that as you look at the current values. And even if you get the high price that you want, keep in mind that it has to appraise. So whenever we sell a property, unless it is a cash purchase, there's actually two transactions we have to successfully sell. One, sell the property to the buyer so that he or she feel like they're paying a reasonable price for the property. And the next, that we need to sell it to the appraiser, who is never going to live in the property. They have no special interest in this. They simply want to justify whether the value is there or not. Sometimes the buyer is willing to pay a price that an appraiser isn't quite willing to come to, and that creates a little hiccup and a snag that we need to work through in the transaction. So our market is changing. The important thing we want to leave you with here is that some areas prices are continuing to rise, and this is anticipated to continue for some time. We can tell you exactly what those areas are and why we believe that's the case. Other areas prices are stabilizing and rising values are slowing, and it's good to know that too.
So if you have any questions, feel free to email us and we'll promptly reply. There's Ron, Jeremy, Ed, or Dean at the Wilstein team. And yeah, feel free to send us over your questions.
All right. So thank you for participating in our webinar. And our next month's will be updated on June 10th, Tuesday. And we'll have it on the website. And so we hope that you'll join us for what we talk about next month. Bye-bye.